1. Attachment. Attachment is a mental factor that focuses on an object we consider to be a source of pleasure, such as a car, and either exaggerates the car's positive qualities or superimposes positive qualities the car does not possess. While apprehending these qualities attachment craves for and becomes attached to the car. Regarding the generation of attachment, its root is ignorance, apprehended the inherently existence, I, the inherently existent car, or the inherently existent positive qualities of the car. These misperceptions then induce other wrong perceptions, such as awareness that perceives the car as being permanent, as being in the nature of happiness, or as being flawless, which in turn lead to the mind that exaggerates the car's positive qualities or superimposes positive qualities the car does not possess. The latter awareness is not attachment yet, for craving is still to arise. The mental factor that craves for and becomes attached to the car, while exaggerating the car's positive qualities or while superimposing positive qualities the car does not possess, is attachment. The arising of attachment is quite differently to the arising as, for example, anger. Anger is impulsive and explosive, but usually ebbs away quickly. Attachment, on the other hand, arises slowly. There's a gradual process of becoming attached to an object. Attachment craves its object, attaches to it, and fuses with it, making it very difficult to separate from the object once the mind becomes attached. This is why attachment is compared to a piece of cloth that is stained with oil. The oil is absorbed by the cloth, spreads into it, and is therefore difficult to remove. Furthermore, the stronger the attachment, the stronger is the sense that we cannot find happiness if we are separated from the object. This feeling is particularly strong regarding attachment to another person. Depending on the intensity of the attachment to the other person, there is the fear that we may be separated from them. There is jealousy when they spend time with someone else, and anger when they leave us. 2. Anger. Anger is a mental factor that focuses on an object that we consider to be a source of harm. This source of harm is usually one of the following: the being or object who harms us, e.g., a thief or a disease; the harm itself; the suffering that occurs through our being harmed; and the reason for being harmed. In the case of being angry with another person, anger focuses on that person and exaggerates their negative qualities or superimposes negative qualities that they do not possess. While apprehending those qualities, anger cannot bear the person and wants to harm them. Regarding the generation of anger, its root is ignorance, apprehending the inherently existing I, the inherently existing person who is the object of anger, or the inherently existing negative qualities of that person. These misperceptions induce the mind that exaggerates the person's negative qualities or superimposes negative qualities the person does not possess. The latter awareness is not anger, for the wish to get rid of them or to harm them has not risen yet. Rather, anger is the mental factor that wants to get rid of the person or wants to harm them, while exaggerating the person's negative qualities or while superimposing negative qualities the person does not possess. Anger is an affliction that includes or induces a wide range of different emotions, such as resentment, ill will, fury, irritation, rage, hatred, aggression, rancor, spite, etc. It is considered a particular harmful affliction because it unsettles the mind more than any other afflictions and has the power to destroy a lot of root virtue or positive karma we have accumulated over many lifetimes.
How does man deal with anger? Is anger a two-headed sword? If we lash out at someone in anger, we have just created a verbal assault on that person. If we hold that anger inside, it festers within. How can man channel anger so it can't be inflicted on others while man doesn't stuff it inside? Can we put anger in a box and light it on fire? The energy then will be used for a helpful purpose. Anger will eventually lead man back to grace. We are all angry. Some people show it while others don't. Man has the capability to dissolve the monster.
3. Arrogance beyond arrogance. Arrogance beyond arrogance is an inflated mental factor that considers oneself to be superior to those who are actually superior, particularly with regard to social standing, etc. It leads to the thought, although they may have greater social standing, knowledge, etc., than myself, I am nevertheless superior to them. 1. Lesser arrogance. This refers to an inflated mental factor that considers oneself to be superior to those who are inferior, particularly with regard to social standing, knowledge, and wealth. It leads to the thought, I am greater than those who have an inferior social position and who are poorer in knowledge and wealth than myself. Greater arrogance. Excessive arrogance is an inflated mental factor that considers oneself to be superior to those who are one's equal, particularly with regard to social standing, etc. It leads to the thought, although they may be free, equal to me in their social position, etc., nevertheless, I am superior to them. 3. Arrogance beyond arrogance. Arrogance beyond arrogance is an inflated mental factor that considers oneself to be superior to those who are actually superior, particularly with regard to social standing, etc. It leads to the thought, although they may have greater social standing, knowledge, etc., than myself, I am nevertheless superior to them. 4. Arrogance of thinking, I. An inflated mental factor that thinks I by focusing on the aggregates. Some explain the I here as referring to the non-existing self, while others explain it as referring to the conventional existence I. If it refers to the non-existent self, this arrogance apprehends an inherently existent self and feels inflated about it. If the I, this ignorant, takes to mind is the conventional existence I, then it merely feels inflated about the conventional I without apprehending its inherent existence. Either way, this type of arrogance is a deluded mind that feels inflated about one's identity. For instance, it may feel inflated about being Indian, American, European, etc. 4. Arrogance of thinking, I. An inflated mental factor that thinks I by focusing on the aggregates. Some explain the I here as referring to the non-existing self, while others explain it as referring to the conventional existence I. If it refers to the non-existent self, this arrogance apprehends an inherently existent self and feels inflated about it. If the I, this ignorant, takes to mind is the conventional existence I, then it merely feels inflated about the conventional I without apprehending its inherent existence. Either way, this type of arrogance is a deluded mind that feels inflated about one's identity. For instance, it may feel inflated about being Indian, American, European, etc. 5. Arrogance of conceit. An inflated mental factors that think one has attained good qualities that one has not attained. 6. Arrogance of slight inferiority. An inflated mental factor that thinks one is only slightly inferior to those who are greatly superior. 7. Wrongful arrogance. An inflated mental factor that thinks that one has attained excellent qualities, while one has not attained such excellent qualities, but rather has attained faults. 4. Ignorance affliction. As explained before, in general, ignorance refers to either a mental factor that is a mere not known, i.e., that is merely confused and bewildered with regard to the nature of an object, or it refers to a mental factor that actively apprehends the opposite of what is actually there. However, here ignorance refers to a confused and bewildered quality of the mind that does not understand the working of the law of karma, the three jewels, the Four Noble Truths, and so forth. Afflicted doubt. Explained above, doubt is in general not considered to be an affliction, for it can be one of the stepping stones to gain a correct understanding of reality. However, here, afflictive doubt is a mental factor that serves as an obstacle to spiritual development, for it is an awareness that despite corrective reasoning does not transform into a corrective assuming consciousness, and that continues to waver with respect to the Four Noble Truths, the law of cause and effect, the three jewels, and so forth. It is two-pointed and undermines our ability to engage in any action with confidence and resolve. Furthermore, it hinders us from committing ourselves wholeheartedly to a particular practice or to remaining diligent in our effort in accomplishing a desired result. There is a Tibetan saying that just as we cannot sew with a two-pointed needle, we cannot accomplish our goals with a doubting, two-pointed mind. 5. View of the transitory collection. The view of the transitory collection refers to a mental factor that apprehends an inherent existent I and mine. It is an afflictive wisdom because its function is similar to wisdom in the way it actively apprehends an object. However, it is an afflicted wisdom because its object, an inherent existence I or mine, does not exist. The reason for calling it the view of the transitory collection is that this view apprehends an inherently existence I or mine while focusing on the aggregates, which are a transitory collection. The aggregates are a transitory collection due to their impermanent and perishable nature. 6. View holding to extremes. The view of holding to extremes is afflicted wisdom, focusing on the self as apprehended by the view of the transitory collection, perceiving it either as being permanent and non-changing, or as a subject to annihilation in such a way that it becomes non-existence at the time of death. In other words, there are two extremes into which we are likely to fall once we have ascended to the sense of self given to us by the view of the transitory collection, the extremes of permanence and annihilation. The view of the extreme of permanence refers to the view which considers the self to be something essentially unchanging, which will survive death and continue indefinitely. The view of the extreme of annihilation is a view which holds that even though the self exists presently at death, it, as well as any element of consciousness, will cease completely. In Buddhism, these extreme views are avoided through refuting the existence of an independent, inherently existing self on the one hand, while posting a merely imputed, a momentary self on the other. 7. Belief in the supremacy of wrong views. Belief in the supremacy of wrong views is an afflictive wisdom that focuses on one of the three views: the view of the transitory collection, the view holding to extremes, or wrong views, which will be explained below, and regards them as supreme. It is the function of causing the attachment to wrong views to increase and strengthen. Belief in the supremacy of mistaken ethics and religious conduct. Belief in the supremacy of mistaken ethics and religious conduct is an afflictive wisdom which asserts that various misguided religious practices are supreme and lead towards spiritual attainment. Examples of such practices can be found in many different religious systems. In certain Christian traditions, for instance, one finds the practice of corporal mortification or mortification of the flesh, which in some of its more severe forms can cause self-inflicted pain and physical harm, such as beating, whipping, piercing, or cutting oneself. These practices are considered to help the practitioner to attain a union with God, attain a higher place in heaven, etc. Similarly, in some religious traditions, one finds the practice of ritual animal sacrifices. Then there are various ascetic practices, such as standing on one leg or burning the body in the sun for a long time in order to purify negativities. Further, there are numerous cases of self-immolation and ritual suicide that are permitted for the sake of spiritual salvation. The view that holds such practices as supreme and as a means of attaining spiritual emancipation is the fourth of the five views. 9. Afflicted doubt. As explained above, doubt is in general not considered to be an affliction, for it can be one of the stepping stones to gain the correct understanding of reality. However, here afflicted doubt is a mental factor that serves as an obstacle to spiritual development, for it is awareness that despite correct reasoning does not transform into a correct assumption, assuming consciousness, and that continues to waver with respect to the Four Noble Truths, the law of cause and effect, the three jewels, and so forth. It is too pointed and undermines our ability to engage in any action with confidence and resolve. Furthermore, it hinders us from committing ourselves wholeheartedly to a particular practice. 10. Wrong view. Even though the previous four views saw all forms of wrong view, here wrong view refers specifically to afflictive wisdom that actively apprehends the non-existence of something which in fact exists. Examples of such wrong views are the mental factor that perceives the non-existence of the law of karma, the non-existence of past and future lives, etc. It also refers to the view that asserts the cause of sentient beings and cyclical existence to be a divine creator, a primordial essence, as propounded by the non-Buddhist Indian philosopher's system of the Samkhas, and so forth. The 20 secondary afflictions. The 20 secondary afflictions all derive from the three poisons: attachment, anger, and ignorance. Although when confronted with the immediate situation, we are often unaware of the growth and arisal of these various mental factors. 1. Aggression, belligerence. Aggression is a mental factor that is an increase of the primary affliction of anger and that wishes to physically or verbally harm others. It has the function of directly connecting the person who intends to cause harm with the actual means to do so. Aggression. The definition of aggression is as follows. Noun: hostile or violent behavior or attitudes towards another. Readiness to attack or confront. Similar: hostility, aggressiveness, belligerent, antagonism, militancy, warmongering, warlikeness, violence, attack, assault, encroachment, offense, invasion, infringement. Where do all wars start? They start from the aggressions of the mind. Every single war has started that way. An aggressive thought turns into aggressive action. Mind you, it doesn't take too much. A leader could have had a bad night's sleep. It's as simple as that. The snowball starts going down the hill. Before you know it, it's out of control. The increased anger state of mind leads to aggression. Mind you, clarity has done an exit stage left. Snipers has left the stage. The mind is in a chaotic state. Presidents have said, my button is larger than your button. They were talking about nuclear weapons. Mind you, that is a scary thought. Why don't we vote for presidents who have stable thoughts? You would think we would have learned our lessons. Apparently not. 2. Vindictiveness. Vindictiveness is a mental factor that maintains the continuum of the primary affliction of anger without forgetting it, and wants to retaliate. It is the basis for impatience, and thus performs the function of repeatedly generating anger and the pain of being unable to bear something. Vindictiveness. The definition of vindictiveness is as follows: to pose, to seek revenge, vengeful, intended for or involving revenge, intended to cause anguish or hurt, spiteful. We have seen plenty of this lately. How can we ever vote for a president whose very false nature is this trait? Mind you, I said false nature. Our true nature is love and compassion. Yet, when it comes to politics, ethics, and morals have gone out the door. America seems to have lost its moral compass. Anything to stay in power is the norm. Cheat, lie, and steal are the norm. Why do we seem to embrace this trait in America today? Even some Christian groups said that God chose the previous president to be the chosen leader. That's a heavy pill to swallow. Where did kindness go? It seems like playing mind games and being vindictive is the norm. Even people who tell the truth are being prosecuted by their own political party. I've never seen that before, yet we see it happening today. Someday we will look at the past and we won't believe how barbaric these times were. Look, I'm not taking political values. I'm placing human values. There is a huge difference. The ex-president mocked so many people that we became immune to this. In the past, just one of these mocks would have been controversial for years. Now, it's just standard in our daily life. An ignorant and dark mind embraces vindictiveness, not an ounce of emotional and mental maturity. They never left their childish games. We are here to transform. Without transforming, we are lost in our ways. Tick-tock goes the clock. You are part of the solution. What do you want? Darkness or light? It's as simple as that. 3. Concealment, denial. Concealment is a type of ignorance which wants to conceal one's faults from others when they are pointed out by someone with a motivation to benefit. In concealment, we do not necessarily react negative to the other person, but simply suppress any manifestation or knowledge of the fault that is described. Superficially, it seems to act as a defense, yet the more we resort to it, the more it causes heaviness and discomfort of the mind. Concealment. The definition of concealment is as follows. Noun. The action of hiding something or preventing it from being known. Similar. Hiding, secretion, cover, hiding place, secrecy, keeping hidden, hushing up, covering up, cover up, suppression, disguise, camouflage, whitewash. We all tend to conceal our faults to people. We say it's human in nature, yet we are divorced from nature. A wise man learns not to hide from anything. We have lived our entire life like leaves blowing in the wind. Consequently, we hide our imperfections. If we would just embrace our imperfection, we would use alchemy to transform ourselves. Remember, everything is energy. Energy can be transformed into something else. When we embrace the things we are hiding, it goes from darkness to light. The pain of hiding something disappears. The knot in the stomach goes away. Just think one small match can light up an entire room. You can transform any darkness inside of you. Just embrace it and release it. Make darkness your friends. Don't hide from anything. This is the way to heal oneself. 7. Pretension, deceit. Pretension is a type of ignorance or attachment which, motivated by attachment to material possessions, reputation, status, etc., wants to pretend that one possesses qualities one does not possess. It acts as a basis for the establishment of wrong livelihood and as a cause for engaging in lying. Pretension. The definition of pretension is as follows. Adjective, characterized by assumption of dignity or importance, especially when exaggerated or unserved. A pretentious, self-important waiter, making an exaggerated outward show. Obstinaneous, full of pretense or pretension, having no factual basis. False, wants to pretend that one possesses qualities one does not possess. Acts as a basic for the establishment of the wrong livelihood and as a cause for engaging in lying. In other words, one is full of himself. This exaggeration will lead to lying. We had a recent president who lied over 35,000 times while in office. I find it fascinating how political parties drop their morals and ethics when in power. Yet if the other party did the same actions they did, all hell would break out. We are a fragmented nation. We tend to do anything to stay in power. That means we can cheat, lie, and steal. Most people know that our ex-president lost, yet they know by continuing to lie will create uncertainty. From this, the Capitol insurrection occurred. Months later, many said the event was a walk in the park. They know they are lying. Yet truth has become fiction, and fiction has become truth. Our nation is walking on quicksand. One small incident could cause the entire ship to sink. When fiction becomes truth, this is a sign that we are going the wrong way for the nation. 8. Dissimulation. Dissimulation is a type of ignorance or attachment which, motivated by attachment to material possessions, reputation, status, etc., does not want others to know one's shortcoming. It is the function of not giving a clear response to questions and of causing an interference to obtaining properly directed service. Dissimulation. The definition of dissimulation is as follows. Noun, concealment of one's thoughts, feelings, or character. Pretense, an attempt at dissimulation. Similar, misrepresentation, deceit, dishonesty, lying. shamming, faking, hypocrisy. Sounds very familiar, especially in today's world. Spinning the truth comes to my mind. We see this all the time. Some media channels are great at this. Whatever happened to just presenting the news in an unbiased manner? That, my friend, has been gone for decades. This is a common occurrence today. Nobody truly knows the exact truth. It has been stretched or fabricated in some way. How can a common person decipher the truth when it has been spun? No wonder such chaos exists in the world. When our news turns into dissimulation, we are lost. Common sense becomes uncommon. Truth becomes fiction. Fiction becomes the truth. That is a scary thing. Ted, harmfulness. Harmfulness is a type of anger which wants to inflict harm on other sentient beings. It has the function of reducing the good qualities of oneself and others, acting as a basis of turmoil, and physically harming the lives of others. Also, it generally arises towards those we regard inferior to ourselves.
Harmfulness. The definition of harmfulness is as follows: the fact of causing damage or injury to somebody, something, especially to a person's health or to the environment. I remember this incident in 5th grade. Bill and I were selling Boy Scout tickets. We were at the dock. Bill suddenly said there was a kitten in the water. I rescued the kitten. The owner of the house gave me a $5 reward. I have a hunch that Bill threw the kitten in the water. What is it in humans that we like to cause harm to another sentient being? Mind you, this is a minor incident where the poor kitten could have drowned. Somehow, this incident was told about through my school. My teacher asked about it, and I told her the story. A classmate stood up and said, "I was wrong to accept the money." A true Boy Scout never accepts a reward for his actions. I never heard that one before. I pray that someday humanity will wake up from our slumber. There is so much harm going on in this world, yet the majority of people are kind and compassionate. It just takes a few rotten apples to spoil the batch. Even rotten apples have precious seeds within them. Maybe it's time to discover our own precious seeds within.
(11) Shamelessness, non-shame. Shamelessness is a type of ignorance, anger, or attachment which is devoid of essential shame and conscious with regard to one's negative actions. It acts as a supportive condition for all primary and secondary afflictions, for engaging in negativities, and for transgressing one's vows.
Shamelessness. The definition of shamelessness is as follows: lacking any sense of shame, immodest, audacious, insensible to disgrace, showing no shame. When truth becomes fiction and fiction becomes truth, it is a sad day for America. Many of our leaders have no shame. When many leaders say that the Capitol riot was a walk in the park, despite the video evidence, have they any sense of morality? Many laws are being passed to stop certain groups from voting. Half the population believes the past election was rigged. The ex-president has raised over $100 million from this falsehood. I could go on and on. It seems like common decency has faded away. To stay in power, despite any morals and ethics, is the norm. Yet the ones in power, if the other side did the same thing, they would be up in arms. All great civilizations' downfalls occur when common decency has left the arena. What's left is only power moguls who could care less about you. We even have the media that will spin the truth. We are on the verge of falling apart at the seams. Yet, we think our country is not in jeopardy. The signs are all around us. We are so locked into I'm right and you're wrong. Remember, America needs the left wing and right wing to fly.
Inconsideration, non-embarrassment. Inconsideration is a type of ignorance, anger, or attachment which is devoid of consideration for other sentient beings with regard to one's negative actions. It acts as the basic for causing others to lose respect and trust in oneself and for being agitated. 13. Dullness, lethargy. Dullness is a type of ignorance which makes the mind lethargic, so that it is unable to comprehend its object clearly, having caused the mind to lapse into darkness and therefore becomes insensitive. It does not comprehend its objects clearly as it is. It has the function of making the mind and body heavy and inflexible, and of increasing sleepiness and mental sinking. Dullness should not be confused with mental sinking. The latter only occurs in the more advanced states of stabilization meditation and is not necessary an affliction. Dullness. The definition of dullness is as follows: not sharp, blunt, causing boredom, tedious, uninteresting, a dull sermon. Not lively or spirited, listless, not bright, intense, or clear, dim, a dull day, a dull sound. Our minds need to be sharpened. Our society today is demonstrating that we don't have sharp minds. Note, we can't even get along with each other. Truth is fiction, and fiction is truth. We need to learn how to sharpen our minds. We can't see the brilliance within, yet we think we have all the answers. When the mind, body, and soul We're not in balance. Chaos exists internally and externally. We think everything is okay. Some people even think the Capitol building riot was a walk in the park. All the great masters said to cultivate the mind. Instead of listening, we like the weeds that we have grown. I have friends who get a kick at flaming others. To the delight of their friends, they love to see this. They actually enjoy mocking and putting down others. If we as a society wants to advance, we must sharpen our minds. Yes, it does take time and effort. It's so easy to flame someone. The hardest thing to do in the universe is to conquer your own mind. "14. Afflictive excitement. Afflictive excitement is a type of attachment which scatters the mind so that it is unable to remain focused on one object. It has the mental function of obstructing concentration. Furthermore, it causes the mind to engage in an uncontrolled fantasy and frivolity. This mental factor is often with us, but its presence only becomes truly felt when we start to concentrate the mind in concentration. Afflictive. The definition of afflictive is as follows. Adjective. Characterized by or causing pain, distress, or grief. Distressing. Pain and distress are all around us. Just look at the pandemic today. So many people have lost their loved ones. They are grieving every single moment of the day. Many more will die. Is there an end in sight? My heart goes out to all. As a nation, we can't even stand together. I have my rights, while thousands are going to the hospital every single day. We, our nation, have lost our moral compass. Even some of our so-called leaders are spreading such lies. The right wing and left wing must be united to fly. We must all unite and see our differences as blessings in disguise. We are a melting pot. We have forgotten that. We all come from somewhere else. Why do we hold on to our beliefs that it's my way or you're wrong and evil? Where did having a different point of view mean you have to hate the other person? If we were united as a nation, the pandemic would have been long gone by now. There wouldn't be so much unnecessary grief upon the land. "15. Nonfaith. Nonfaith is a type of ignorance which does not believe in, does not have admiration for, and does not aspire to virtuous phenomena. It has the function of acting as the basic for laziness and of causing the power of faith to decrease. Nonfaith.
The definition of non-faith is as follows: does not have affirmation for and does not aspire to virtuous phenomena. Maybe, just maybe, this is the source of the problem. Humanity doesn't believe that this exists inside of them. These are mere stories. Otherwise, I would have known by now. When we think this is all fantasy, we tend to brush it off. For generations, the world has not found the jewel within. Most people have never looked for it. Scientists is proving today what the wise men have said in the past. Science and the world of mystics are slowly melting together. You are your own chemistry set. Science has proven that. Learn to be more open. You are the universe. You just don't know it. Modern day scientists has proven that today. (16) Laziness. Laziness is a type of ignorance which is due to attachment to an object that provides temporary happiness, etc., dislikes, or feels sluggish or faint-hearted about engaging in virtue. It has the function of causing diligence to decrease and acts as a basic for the degeneration of wholesome tendencies and the prevention of accumulating virtue. Laziness. The definition of laziness is as follows. Noun. The quality of being unwilling to work or use energy. Idleness. It was sheer laziness on my part. Similar. Idleness. Shiftlessness. Inactivity. And inertia. There is a huge difference between being lazy and one who has discovered the jewel within. The lazy man does nothing, yet his mind is extremely active. One who has discovered the jewel within lives in the center of the hurricane. Huge difference. One tries to escape from this world, while the other has his feet on the ground and his head in heaven. At times, being lazy is a reflection of our state of mind. We are lethargic and have no energy for life. Life has no meaning nor purpose. In this state, we are idle. The engines are running, yet we have the car in park. If we do this too long, we are running on gas fumes. One who has a purpose in life is constantly filling the car with gasoline. He will never have to worry about running out of gas. (17) Non-conscientiousness. Non-conscientiousness is a mental factor that manifests together with one of the three poisons: attachment, anger, or ignorance, when accompanied by laziness, and that leaves the mind in a relaxed state without habituating it to virtue and protecting it from contaminated phenomena. It leads to the wish to freely act in an unrestricted manner without cultivating virtue or guarding the mind against negativity. Also, it has the functions of increasing non-virtue and preventing virtue, as well as causing any positive qualities to be destroyed.
Non-conscientiousness. The definition of non-conscientiousness is as follows. Antonyms: cutthroat, dishonesty, dishonorable, immoral, unconscionable, unethical, unjust, unprincipled, unscrupulous. Hey, this sounds like some modern current day politicians today. In some sense, many millions of Americans have no problems with these characteristics. As long as their party is in power, anything goes. Yet, if the opposite party has the same qualities, all hell will break out. Whatever happened to human decency? (18) Forgetfulness. Forgetfulness is a type of ignorance that is blurred with respect to virtuous objects due to remembering non-virtuous objects. It has the function of causing positive qualities to degenerate and recollection to decline. Here, forgetfulness does not refer to simply being unable to retain a memory of an object in the mind, for it refers to a mental factor that, in addition to losing sight of what is wholesome, draws one into apprehension of what is unwholesome. Forgetfulness. The definition of forgetfulness is as follows. Noun: lapse of memory. Similar: absent-mindedness, amnesia. Poor memory, a lapse of memory. Vagueness. My friends, we have forgotten who we truly are. You are the universe, and you just don't know it. That is the truth. You are magnificent. Yet, we all have amnesia. We come into this world with full awareness. Slowly, it starts to dwindle away. At some point, it simply vanishes. We may have flashes at some point in time, yet even then, we are too busy to see. We have totally shut down. This is the state of the world today. The world is in chaos. It doesn't seem like a way out of this mess, but there is a way. Find the inner Joel inside of you. This will lead you home. It's as simple as that. We spend most of our times in our minds. There must be a mind, body, and soul connection. You can solve this riddle. (19) Non-alertness, non-introspection. Non-alertness is a type of afflicted wisdom which is not alert with respect to physical, verbal, and mental actions, and causes one to enter a state of careless indifference. It has the function of causing the power of intelligence to degenerate and negative actions of body, speech, and mind to increase. Non-alertness. The definition of non-alertness is as follows: not fully aware and attentive, not awake. I find it fascinating that we think we are totally awake, yet we don't know who we truly are. We live our entire life unaware of our true nature. When the wise men of the past said, "You are the universe, you just don't know it," we simply blow them off. Even when modern-day scientists say the same thing, we still refuse to accept this fact. If quantum energy exists beyond time and space, then that means it exists inside of you. If even your thoughts are energy and your body is energy, who are you? What is keeping you alive? What is the power behind your breath? Distraction. Distraction is a type of anger, attachment, or ignorance which unable to direct the mind towards a wholesome object, disperses it to a variety of other objects. It causes concentration to deteriorate and acts as a basic for losing one's attention upon the objects referred to both in analytical and stabilizing meditation. It is a mental function ascribed to awareness in which the mind has been led away from the object of concentration by attachment, anger, or ignorance. The four changeable mental factors. The four changeable mental factors are 1. Sleep, 2. Regret, 3. General investigation, 4. Detailed analysis. They are changeable because in dependency upon one's motivation or particular situation, they become virtuous, non-virtuous, or neutral.
Distraction. The definition of distraction is as follows. Noun. A thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. Similar. Diversion. Interruption. Disturbance. Intrusion. Interference. Obstruction. Hindrance. 2. Extreme agitation of the mind or emotions. Similar. Frenzy. Hysteria. Mental distress. Madness. Insanity. Wildness. These sound like current symptoms in our society today. I've been on this planet for many moons. I can't ever recall a moment when chaos is so prevalent in our society. We are so distracted from the truth. Yet millions of people are waking up from their slumber. They are saying enough is enough for peace to be on this planet. You must have peace inside of you. One can live in heaven and still have his feet on the ground. That, my friend, is probably the most practical thing you can do. The jewel within is the source of wisdom that is needed in this world. You need this jewel. When this jewel leaves you, they will bury you in the ground. It's as simple as that.
1. Sleep. Sleep is a mental factor that as a result of mental heaviness or mental dullness makes the mind unclear and is responsible for dissolving the sense consciousness into the subtler mind. It has the function of letting the apprehension of the object of the conscious mind disgenerate and causing a loss of conscious physical activity. When the body and mind are exhausted and in need of refreshment, sleepiness pulls the sense consciousness and the coarse mental consciousness into the darkness of deep sleep, i.e., a state in which no dreaming occurs. As the force of sleep becomes lighter, dreams are then experienced due to the ripening of imprints left on the mind during the waking state. Sleep is a changeable mental factor because it can't be influenced by our behavior. If we spend the day involved in wholesome activities, and in particular generates strong positive thoughts before going to sleep, this will cause the sleep itself to be wholesome and restful. If, on the other hand, our minds are filled with hatred and craving when we go to sleep, the quality of sleep will likewise be unwholesome and disturbed.
Sleeping meditation. Many people think that sleep is a drag. They wish they didn't have to go to sleep. Yet sleep is an incredible doorway to the quantum field. Sleep is a doorway to find our true nature. It's amazing every night when we truly fall asleep, we go back to the quantum field. Yet, we aren't aware of it. When we wake up in the mornings, our bodies are recharged. How would you like, when you are sleeping, to have your awareness in the quantum field and be conscious at the same time? As I have said many times, the more attention you focus on the power behind your breath, at some point, the power of your breath focuses back to you. In the beginning, you meditate on God. At some point, God starts to meditate on you. Sleeping meditation allows you, in the comfort of your own bed, to be aware of the quantum field. There's an infinite source of kindness that exists inside of you. Each one of us is custom designed by the quantum field. When you go to sleep, focus on your breath. Over time, a door opens within, and a power of love will fill you up. You start to enter into the quantum field. This is your true nature. Just dwell in this love. There's never a point in time where you can't go deeper. This journey is an infinite journey. Many times when I wake up in the morning, I concentrate on each of my chakras. I do the chakra meditations. Imagine being in a state of heaven and moving through each chakra. The whole mind, body, and soul connection is being healed. The brain is being washed by waves of love. One resides into a field of divine light and a force of infinite love. Well, words truly can't describe that experience. This experience exists inside of you. The key lies inside of you. Only by your will can you open the door. As I said many times before, signposts of God are all around you, both inside and outside of you. When one truly loves to engage in sleep and meditation, one truly begins to enjoy life to its fullest. One wakes up in the morning and rejoices on being alive. One is truly grateful. This being loves to meditate upon waking up and truly loves to be aware of the quantum field. One puts his dreams into reality. We slowly learn how to not react to the world around us. Most of humanity is living in the mind's wind of the hurricane. A wise person who is one who lives in the center of the hurricane. Yes, he will stumble and fall. When he does, one sees that at this point in time, one is in the hurricane's winds of the mind. This person will then focus on his breath and in due time be in the center of the hurricane. So when you go to bed at night, here's some helpful suggestions. Bless the day that was given to you. It may be in a form of a prayer or simply grateful thoughts in your mind. Look over your interactions with the people that you were connected to. Learn from your mistakes. Look at the same tapes that were being played over and over in your life. Be conscious of them. Only when you're aware of your actions can you truly change for the better. You can learn to rewire the actions that cause you to get angry to a state of love, compassion, and kindness. When you realize that by getting angry, you are drinking your own poison, literally. Learn to truly appreciate and have gratitude towards sleep. Many times when I'm about ready to come down with the cold, my body tells me to go to sleep an hour earlier. Consequently, in the morning, my body has healed itself. Sleep is your best friend. It helps maintain and recalibrate your mind, body, and soul connection. Your dreams are talking to you. They give you helpful insight and advice. They also give you warnings if you're about to walk off the cliff of life. Your dreams help guide you on this journey in life. Unfortunately, most of us see them as a waste of time. We place no value on them. Personally, I think we probably get less than 1% on the importance of sleep and its true values. Our daily lives are so driven. Most of the time, we're living from tapes from the past. We don't think outside of the box. What a paradox that signposts are all around us, yet we don't have the eyes to see. Many people try to go to sleep, yet they can't. Their mind and body is so stressed out they can't sleep. Millions of people all around the world has this problem. Millions take drugs so they can go to sleep, yet they will go to sleep taking these drugs, yet they have a huge side effect. All it takes is small baby steps to learn how to connect to the quantum field. Ponder this over. You are a piece of the puzzle.
Two, regret. Regret is a mental factor that having regard a past physical, verbal, or mental action as negative and harmful, feels remorse for that action. It has the function of not allowing the mind to rest at ease and of acting as a basis of mental unhappiness. If the action we regret having done was negative, then the regret becomes virtuous. It is necessary to generate this form of regret in order to help purify the negative mental imprints we accumulated while engaging in non-virtuous actions. However, if we regret a positive action, such as having made a generous gift or offering, the regret becomes non-virtuous and harmful. Simply regretting that one parks one's car in a wrong place is neither a virtuous or non-virtuous state of mind. Rather, it is neutral.
Regret. The definition of regret is as follows. Verb. Feel sad, repentant, or disappointed over something that has happened or been done, especially a lost or missed opportunity. Similar. Be sorry about. Feel apologetic about. Feel remorseful about. Have a conscience about, blame oneself for, mourn. Now, a feeling of sadness, repentance, or disappointed over something that has happened or been done. We all have things we have regretted doing. That's part of life. Yet we can learn from our mistakes. This is how we grow and learn. Life might be boring if no obstacles are thrown our way. Maybe that's why there is a duality in all things. We are playing the most challenging video game ever. It's called life. We have the opportunity to gather wisdom along the way. Furthermore, we can learn how to laugh at ourselves. Humor is the greatest medicine for the soul. Humor is a way to connect to the jewel inside of you. It is a heightened state of awareness. Humor allows us to dissolve our regrets. Been there, done that. We then can see the actions that created such regret and not get affected by the trauma it caused. We can laugh at the situation in a good way. Regret has transformed into gratitude. The situation can't be changed, but you can let go.
Three, general investigation. Investigation is a mental factor that, in dependence upon intention or intelligence, roughly examines the general nature of an object. 4. Detailed analysis. Detailed analysis is a mental factor that, in dependence upon intention or intelligence, thoroughly examines the detailed nature of an object. Both general investigation and detailed analysis are qualities ascribed to intention and intelligence, their difference being determined by the degree of precision and detail for which they examine the object. If they are cultivated in a wholesome manner, they are virtuous. But if they are developed in an unwholesome way, they are non-virtuous.
Analysis. The definition of analysis is as follows. Now, 1. Detailed examination of the element or structure of something. Statistical analysis. Similar: examination, investigation, inspection, study, scrutiny, exploration, probe, research, inquiry, evaluation, interpretation. 2. Short for psychoanalysis. Other schools' analysis has evolved out of the original disciplines established by Freud. The Greeks were outstanding at this. This was the golden age of man. Unfortunately, few people today use this. It's almost like a forgotten art. Most politicians lack this virtue. We must all take responsibility for acquiring this trait. If we did this, we could tremendously reduce the chaos in the world today.